the plurality of the Indian gene, culturally, religious, languages, this country wasn't ruled by anybody for 5,000 years. You read Indian history, nobody ruled this country for 5,000 years. There was no national government except for 500 years. During the Mughal period, a bit during the Guptas, the Mughal period, and with a little luck you can credit the British of having produced a national government. We have been a self-governing society for 5,000 years. It is not recognized these days that when the British left, more geographical area was out of British control than within British control. If you add up the 550 princely states, they added up to more geographical area than the parts that Britain so-called controlled. We are and have been, as Rajaji said, a governmentless civilization for 5,000 years. And that's the absolute metaphor of a biological system, where there's no central command and control, and each organism is working on its own in nature's self-balancing method. That's how this society has developed. That's how this society, which was predicted in 1947, is bound to rupture and fracture, is not merely not rupturing and fracturing, but is excelling in its plurality. Despite a few unfortunate episodes here and there, those are checks and balances. That is the reason why you will find Gujaratis in Kenya, you will find Tamils in Malaysia, you will find Keralites in Middle East, and you will find Sardajis and Sindhis everywhere. It is that innovativeness, it is that entrepreneurship that is embedded in your gene. And it's been unconscious. In any international paper on innovation, you will not find India featuring there with the number of patents, R&D expenditure. And yet, as your own observations in our society will tell you, the number and the range and the scale of innovations that you see around you are fantastic. What therefore remains our challenge, and Tata is a very minor part, but there are many lovely companies we have, and our society itself will provide the fuel for this, is to build on this unconscious innovation into something that will make India a global force in innovation. And I think that destiny awaits us. And I hope all of you, younger people, will be a part of the winning team, while we will be wherever we are watching this with pleasure. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Like to sit here? I know after such a thought-provoking, enlightening talk, there will be too many questions, but we'll have limited time. So what we intend doing, we'll have volunteers, standing with the mic in the aisles. So please raise your hands, and once the mic reaches you, please identify yourself, ask the question. Can I have the first one? Yeah, here, Raghu.
Not really a question, but something that I also feel about the Tatas. Thank you, Gopal. Anyway, out of those innovations, personally I think a couple more that could go to the list. I think in terms of setting up institutions, Tatas are excellent. Institutions that affect society in a fundamental way, educational institutions, of excellence and so on. But I think the real crux comes in where the word Tata has been leveraged with the, and the change of name of TERI, for example, the Tata Energy Research Institute, to the Energy Research Institute, or even the what you had earlier listed as the Indian Institute of Science, if I'm not mistaken, was originally the Tata Institute, and then the word Tata went away. I think that level of self-effacing nature that the Tatas show, in the fact that over time the institute has grown so big that it's no longer the Tata name, but it is, the bird has flown out, to me is, I think, excellent innovation. The second thing is, of course, this is something I always use as an example for talks when I give to the railways, that the day when Tata's renamed Telco, which was originally the Tata Electric Locomotive Company, Tata Engineering and Locomotive Company, to Tata Motors Limited, is the day when really the competition, railways have to recognize that the world has changed. And I use this as an example because this happened not too long ago. So I think even in the way the names are said, I think there's a lot of innovation.
I'm Kaushal Mehta, Tata Scholar 1983, J.N. Tata Endowment, so proud to be here. The question I have, and we have a BPO, we do offshoring work here in Ahmedabad, and innovation is one reason why we think we differentiate where we add value to client processes. And you mentioned here in one sense that, let it come naturally. We have kind of done that over the years so that our clients are with us. But now as we are scaling the company, what we try to understand as a challenge is that how do we institutionalize it so that as founders, when we try to do other things, this kind of remains the culture in the company. So I think it's easier said than done. Let it come naturally. I think we observed that over the years. But there has to be, come to this lecture to figure out innovation, and you say it should happen naturally. Is there some parameter or framework then you put around? And I like the thing that, Ratan Tata said about listen to your employees and let them flourish, which is a great thing. But other than that, because we know it is important to retain clients and do more work and add value to your clients. So we will have to somehow get to the bottom of it. And ingenuity is definitely the right approach, but how do we try to do it across several hundred or a few thousand people?
I hope I didn't convey the impression that there is no place for system, structure or process. That was not my intention. If I have inadvertently given such an impression, please expunge it from the proceedings. I was merely trying to state that you can innovate without structures, processes and systems, but you cannot innovate without naturalness. One is a necessary condition, the other is a sufficient condition. That was the point I was trying to make. There is a certain natural innovativeness in each of us, and our managerial architectures with which we have grown up, hierarchy, structures, processes, filling up forms, authorizations, budgets, tend to have the consequence, unintended, of suppressing those natural instincts. And first we'll have to release that. In addition to that, if you can put in processes, stage gate, funnel, there are hundreds of methods, that's fine. That's why I put those 4 attributes of permeable boundaries, minimum critical rules. When, for example, some really breakthrough product like ACE or Nano or one of these is considered, you make a separate team, they report directly to the managing director. If you send them through the usual tortuous process, every company has the equivalent of planning commission, ministry of HRD, those equivalents exist in every company. You could have killed that project long ago, because by the time the guys, finished their navel gazing, the project would have become obsolete. You had to create a condition, but then it was not my intention to suggest that to hell with processes and let everybody come out naturally. I hope, thanks for allowing me to clarify.